back, and I wanted to jump on here real quick to go over a brief article today. Let me share our screen here.
Yeah. Do.
Boop.
We're out there.
Boop.
There we go.
All right. Well, I need to be over here. I'm sorry. All right. So this is an article in The Guardian, and it was pretty pertinent. So I just wanted to kind of review this. It kind of shows you how incredibly ephemeral our supply chain is. But then also this is more of international news because this will have greater international ramifications. I got to get some more of my Texas Boys native mud here. Get my brain working. After 4 o'clock, I don't drink Texas Boys coffee.
Yeah. So the native mud's actually decaffeinated, and it's really good.
And it's super awesome, and it's got 7 mushroom blend.
Yeah, and it's way cheaper than the actual mud brand, like light years cheaper. So.
All right. So how gas rationing at Germany's BASF plant could plunge Europe into crisis. Everything is connected at the German chemical BASF. The link to this article is down below. Ludwigshafen site, a 10 square kilometer industrial complex so sprawling that the company runs its own bus network to usher employees from its gates to the workplace.
Wow.
Byproducts from making ammonia, for example, are funneled through a 1,700 mile pipeline network from one end of the site to another, where they are recycled to produce fertilizers, disinfectant, diesel exhaust fluid, or carbon dioxide for fizzy drinks. Whoa, they're producing carbon dioxide. When are they going to ban sodas, y'all? When are they going to ban the soda pops and the Cokes? If you're down south, everything's a Coke.
Down south? I thought it was Dr. Pepper. Or no, is it Coke?
No, everything's a Coke.
Coke?
Well, everything in Texas is a Dr. Pepper,
Yeah.
But everywhere else down south,
Coke.
Everything's a Coke.
That's true.
The so-called Verbund principle has been key to BASF's 157-year rise from Baden-Aline to soda factory to the world's largest chemical manufacturer. Now, as Vladimir Putin has severely restricted energy exports to Europe. Really, I don't think that's exactly how it went down. He said, hey, all I got to do is push the button and you can have more. But then something happened that we can't talk about. So that indigenous interconnectivity could be its undoing. Oh, blame it on Pooty Poo. The site is Southwest Germany. The site in Southwest Germany is reliant on gas as a raw material on an energy source, consuming roughly as much each year as the whole of Switzerland. So once again, have we heard anything about restricting BASF or anything like that because of all this stuff? I mean, they're literally producing carbon dioxide as a product. So, but, they're allowed to do all this. But the interesting thing that we're seeing now is because of these gas shortages and this artificially manufactured shortage through geopolitical shenanigans, we're going to see this is going to seriously impact a lot of different products. And, the funny thing is when you bring stuff like this attention, like, oh, I don't use any of that crap anyway, but you have to understand that all these products are in some strange way all interconnected.
Yeah.
Each one, it's like a trickle-down effect. They all affect the other. So even if you don't use ibuprofen, and they make the Blue Death for Europe, so it's going to impact diesel and the consumption of diesel and the usage of diesel, which is going to affect shipping, and which is going to affect food prices. I mean, this is sprawling. BASF played an active role in ensuring a large portion of that gas was cheaply imported from Russia. Should the German state be forced to ration gas for individual use this winter, BASF says it can reduce its consumption to a degree by throttling individual plants or swapping gas for fuel oil at some production stages. It has already lowered its on-site production of ammonia, instead shipping in the chemical from abroad. However, because the 125 production plants at Ludwigshafen are an interconnected value chain, there is a point where a drop of gas supplies would lead to a site-wide shutdown. Once we can receive significantly and permanently less than 50% of our maximum requirements, we would need to wind down the entire site, says Daniela Reichenberger, a company spokesperson. This is something that has never happened in BASF's history and something no one here would want to see happen, but we would have little choice. With German gas storage 87% full, there is increasing optimism that rationing can be averted this winter. But even then, high gas prices could force companies such as BASF to halt production, with large parts of the Verbund site having run around the clock since the 1960s. So
Whoa.
This thing has been running around the clock for the last 60 years. BASF says it is unclear if production could simply be restarted afterwards or if a drop of the pressure would cause some machinery to break. The consequences of a shutdown at Ludwigshafen would be far-reaching, not just in Europe's economy, but in the entire continent. Shoppers still associated BASF's initials with audio and video cassettes, but it sold that business arm in the mid-90s, and today its sales are mainly business-to-business. Its products more invisible, but also more indispensable. BASF produced chemicals are used to make anything from toothpaste to vitamins. Well, there you go.
Yep.
Not that I'm going to be missing any of that in my toothpaste and vitamins, but there's nothing like getting your toothpaste and vitamins from a chemical plant.
Yummy.
From building insulation to nappies, which are napkins, I think, or diapers.
Diapers, probably.
Diapers and nappies. So if you need some nappies, you might be short on nappies. Sometimes this time I need a nappy, but I'm drinking the Texas native. It is one of the world's biggest manufacturers of ibuprofen for painkillers, and its single largest customer industry is the automobile industry, meaning sputtering pipelines in Ludwigshafen would directly affect car-making regions such as Emilia's Romagna, Catalunya, or Halts de France. One of the few remaining end products still produced at Ludwigshafen is AdBlue, a liquid used to reduce air pollution from diesel engines. It is a legal requirement for heavy good vehicles, so a shortage could bring lorries to a standstill across Europe. And that is also a requirement for diesel trucks here. What do they call it here?
Death.
Blue death. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Under German law, households would be excluded from gas rationing along with other protected customers such as care homes or hospitals. The brunt of reductions would have to be made by industry, accountable for about a third of the country's demand. The federal network regulator has obliged large industrial consumers to submit their requirements on a centralized database due to go live this autumn. I don't know what that means.
Maybe it's
autumn.
typo.
It must be a typo because I have no idea what that. Assess where the shutdowns would have the most devastating knock-on effects. The chemicals industry is expected to be first in line for exemptions. The question is, how fair is it for the government to help BASF out of a dilemma it has played a part in bringing about and continues to profit from? The chemicals firm links to the Russian state-owned energy company Gazprom go back to just after German reunification in the 90s, when it tried to use newly opened gas avenues from the east to break the monopoly of Germany's owner trade Ruhrgas through its subsidiary Wintershall. It co-financed the construction of Nord Stream 1, the gas pipeline with which the Kremlin has tried to hold the European Union to ransom this year. It's not. This is very interesting interpretation. And Nord Stream 2, which is halted just before the invasion of Ukraine in February. more geopolitical chicanery is going on here. The collaboration flourished despite growing evidence of Moscow's aggression in 15, a year after Russia's annexation of Crimea. I don't think we have to read. We can bypass the propaganda here. Let's get down to see if it talks about any more of the impact on different products.
But
it's a lot of just jargon from here on out. So I think we'll just stop sharing. But we have lots of international viewers, so this is definitely going to affect people definitely in Europe and the surrounding countries. And obviously there's a trickle-down effect that's going to affect the international supply chain as a whole. So it's kind of like a really big deal. And it's a really big deal. Maybe it would have to be on a Rumble live stream or something, because like 45% of this stuff you can't talk about with what is actually creating these quote unquote shortages, and why pipelines, one, aren't working, and two, they would have been working, and that doesn't make Putin the good guy. But it's much more complex than the way it's being represented. And so
what's the solution to that craziness, you think? Or
there's no real solution to this. This is just a byproduct of all like international geopolitical manipulation. This is strictly a manipulation thing. I mean, the solution for a lot of this, and I know it sounds very reductive, is we are, whether we like to or not, are going to be reduced to live a more simplistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, they want us to own nothing and be happy. We're going to be designing a new shirt. It says, you will, and the word will is going to be real big. It says, you will own nothing. You will eat the bugs, and you will be happy. And it'll just have one big word will on
that'd
here.
be good.
So, because that's what they want.
Yep.
And every
desperately,
you can just see how these different slight nudges and moves they make just have such a dramatic and heavy impact on everything. And unfortunately, us working folk, we reap and get hit by the brunt of this thing.
Sadly.
And and the reality is like I mentioned, I think yesterday, some of these Americanized reactions, well, you deserve this and you voted for this. Nobody has voted for this. We know people in Russia. Yeah. And we have a very good friend in Russia that's trying to get out, and he didn't vote for this. We know people in the Ukraine, and they didn't vote for this.
Yeah.
And it's, these are bankers' wars, and these are big boys that play international geopolitical games, and normal everyday people are held in the balance, and 95%, collateral damage of just the citizenry, and it's a democide, so it's a lot of the same stuff. And I guess what we want to do here is, as we wrap up, I want to share some scripture with y'all. So I'm going to go back to my share screen.
No, you didn't share it.
I didn't share it. I'm still getting used to. I'm still getting used to the.
There you go.
I'm still getting used to the tech, y'all.
Now you're good.
All right. So this is Psalms 37, verse 1. Fret not thyself because of evil doers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust, Lord, and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of thy heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. So I just wanted to share that. I wanted to superimpose that verse, but it was too many characters on the screen. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I mean, we all know that God's in control, and we just want to put the truth out there.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about what the impacts, what the ramifications are for any of y'all that are homesteading. We have for people that aren't, they have a lot of different things to plan for and calculate and try, fail, and adjust. And then those that do have animals and livestock and plants, we're all doing different things and recalibrating and projecting. And so there's a lot of moving parts, y'all. And really, when you're growing your own food and you're living, as much as you're living a more simplified life, it's more complex because there's a lot more moving parts. It's one thing if you're doing like a 9 to 5 and you hit the grocery store when you come home and then you turn on the Black Mirror and kind of chillax. It's a totally different world when you're trying to grow all your own food, and it's it's a lot of work, and it's very rewarding. It's very beneficial, and the ingredients of your food.
Like today, what we did, we drove around. We just got done driving like probably 30 minutes ago or so. We've been driving around for about 7 hours straight, and we try to grow as much as we can here on the farm, but certain things are just not our favorite to have on the farm. We tried having pigs on the farm. Having the coonies is fine, but they really don't make a lot of meat, especially for the price that you have to buy them for and everything like that. We were thinking about getting into the whole pig thing again, and we're like, nah, it's okay. But we did find out a really good way of doing it. Is we can just go around to some local homesteaders and support some local homesteaders around here that raise them. The pigs that we got today were 100% grass fed, except for the little bit of grain that we had to feed them to get them on the trailer. They were totally grass fed, beautiful pastures, rotationally grazed every day. And we were able to buy them for a very, very, very good price. And we just loaded them up on the trailer, and we're taking them to the butcher shop tomorrow. And I personally think that's the best way for me. I mean, it might sound a little lazy, but I'm supporting them. I'm getting the pork.
Everybody wins.
Everybody kind of wins. It's awesome. It gets it off their feed bill, and I get the pork at the end of the day. So, and also we had another neighbor. He was up the street, and he was like, "Hey, I heard that you were taking that pig in to go get it processed. Can you squeeze another one in?" And so we called up the butcher shop, and we're like, "Hey, I know we're only going to be taking in one tomorrow, whatever, or scheduled, one for tomorrow. Could we bring in another one?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So he's bartering.
Yeah, we got that pig for free. Yeah.
For some milled oak, probably.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, y'all can have it, and then just put it on my tab, and we'll swap out for some milled lumber on the Woodland Mills." So, that's all about, one, creating community, two, creating infrastructure. And that's why when the boys said, it's been about a year or so ago now, they said, we want to buy a wood mill. And I'm like,
yeah,
talk about infrastructure. And that was right as like lumber prices were skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And, but now we have that, indispensable tool, and we can create products for our community. We can create products to barter with, but the solution is a parallel economy. The solution is honor and glorify God, look to the Lord for all of our all of our needs. But God gives us a brain, he gives us hands and feet, and we got to be working, and we got to be planning, and we got to be thinking, and we got to be loving our neighbor, and we got to be the other thing is with infrastructure is cash is going to be trash, with this true. CBDC and with this work. The video tomorrow morning is probably going to be about PayPal. So there's this huge money game that's going on, and
don't give it away.
It's going to happen, y'all. I don't know when, but everybody's pushing for it. And so it's going to happen in some form or fashion. So you have to be thinking ahead. You have to be thinking about your infrastructure. And I'm just a single person, or you need to find a community somewhere. You know what I mean? And look, all this fractionalization, and this is why this can't be like a red or blue or left or right thing. All this fractionalization has been designed and created to divide us so that we're much more easily isolated, so that any type
Mhm.
of hink in the system or kink in the synthetic deal, it's like, yeah, but what about me? I'm off here on this island.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's all been by design. The
Yeah.
social planners have planned this. So,
What was it?
I was just
Oh, you're
reading
reading
some of the
somebody.
comments.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's all for now, y'all. We got a video to shoot.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see y'all on the next video. You got anything else, Matt?
Nope. I would love for y'all to go check out the native mud.
The native mud.
It is like really, really good.
magically delicious.
And like even for driving in a truck for 7 hours, and I felt pretty dang exhausted, and then drinking a cup of that really helped me out.
It's really good, y'all.
Anyway, thank you all so much for jumping on, and we'll see y'all later.